Morning, everybody. Leslie, you've got super long hair from last time I saw you. Hi, Anne-Marie. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Pamela. It's so nice to see everyone. Is this music like volume? Okay, is it a bit loud, or is it? Never tell your end if you can hear it.
I can't hear it.
Can't hear it. Okay.
No.
Let me turn it up a little. See how. Just try and get the volume right, and then sometimes it. How's that? Is that better?
No.
I can't hear it now.
No. What's that? No.
No.
Interesting. Why that's not?
I can hear it really gently, I think.
Can you? It's only it's fairly quiet music, so maybe. How's that?
Yeah, I can hear it really gently, but nothing.
You hear that?
Yeah, that's getting a little bit louder. Yeah, that's getting louder. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fine with it. Yeah. Don't know about anybody else.
Great. All right. Now I've completely lost where. Get that back up there. I'll do you. There we go. So funny because I haven't worked on line so much, and Zoom has changed everything, and like, yeah, it's like the lineups and stuff, and how to bring that up right view. That has not done that. Right. Not quite sure what's going on here now because I can't get a blooming gallery view on. How do I do that? Standard. That was something to do with that. Annie. Oh, there we go. Yes, because I've done something left. With my sound. Morning, Annie. I think. All right, Pamela. I think let's just do to arrive. She's coming today. Let me double check. There's a couple of ladies. There's a couple of ladies not here today, so great. So I've got a lovely weekend. Oh, she's here now. Hi, Sue. I was just checking in that you were here. So everybody in. Hi, Sue. I've just sent you a message because I thought I wasn't sure if you were here or not today. Brilliant. So
sorry, Andrea. I had trouble with the internet, but I'm on now.
Don't worry. We're all good. We're all in the house. That's amazing. Brilliant. So we've got a lovely weekend together. Very excited to share some of the magic of Circle with you. And for some of you who've been in the training before, there will be some new stuff. There might be some stuff you've done already. There might be some more updated stuff. And so anything that, if I just say that, anything that you might want to write some bits down. So just have a notepad, because there might be a few bits that come up and you think, oh, I don't remember seeing that, or don't remember hearing it, and that feels relevant for me now, and it didn't feel relevant before. So
Andrea, I can't see you. My screen's black apart from the pictures of the ladies at the top.
oh, hang on.
Is anybody else having that problem, or is it just me?
I think it may be if you go to view on your screen on the top right hand side, and then go gallery, should be able to.
Oh, right. I can see everybody now. Yeah, but I still can't see you.
Can't see me. Hang on a minute. If I pin me to screen, can you see
Oh,
me
I
now?
can see you now. I can see you. Yes. Yes, I can see everybody now. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So hopefully you can all see me, and yeah, everyone's in. Right. Cool. So yeah, if you can grab your cacao and a candle and maybe some oil. We're going to be working today with grounding and also themes. So we're going to look at these two things today. And then tomorrow we're going to go into a little bit more of kind of energetic alchemy in Circle and energy protection, which I've never used before, but it's now become much more important in this work for me. And so I'm going to share a little bit of that with you as well. You might have noticed I've put into the group a meditation, which is a golden egg meditation. We're going to be working with that this weekend as well. And this is taken actually from the Tantric tradition. So it is it's come through the Divine Feminine Ayurveda training that I'm doing at the moment. But it is a very ancient practice that is very beautiful. It's said that we're all born with this golden egg all around us, this cosmic egg, and it travels with us throughout our lifetime. And to be able to start to visualize that, like every day when we get up, every night before we go to sleep, is so protective, and it feels so beautiful. And especially if there's stuff going on for you, like at the moment I've got quite a big thing going on for me at the moment, which is feeling quite stressful to say the least. And yeah, I feel a little bit like I'm being attacked on all levels. So at the moment, having this protection has been really important for me, so I'll share it with you as well. So as we land in, we're going to go into what I'd like to work with this weekend is this idea of presence. For those of you, and myself included in this, why presence is so important in space holding is holding presence for ourselves. Holding space for ourselves requires a presence that is rooted deep in who we are in this Svastha, so that we're aware of each day what is moving for us, what is changing for us, what is present for us in this moment. And as humans, I guess our human and our spirit self are together. And yeah, our human self is quite reactive to different things that are happening around us. And our human self often wants to run away from that. But our spirit self is going, no, this is the lesson. This is what we're doing. This is going to take us to our next expansion. And so sometimes when we're in these spaces, and this has definitely been something that's been really relevant for me just recent, is that in a way, you know, when we're holding space, whether it is in circles, whether it is in yoga classes, whether it is therapy, whatever it is, we are putting ourselves out there in vulnerability, in our own vulnerability. And sometimes it can feel really hard to do that. And so I'm hoping that the sessions this weekend will help us to bring a new level really to that, and how we, you know, show up authentic. And this is and real, which is one of the things that I'm really moving through at the moment. That, you know, we all show up as real, not as spiritual bypassing people who, you know, are holding these spaces. So I'm gonna share a little bit about my own journey with that as well. So let us land in, and we're going to go through a meditation based around presence. So having your cacao close, I'm going to integrate that as well. I'd like us all to go through a gentle reflection process as well on the month that's passed, and how your relationship has built with ceremonial cacao and those daily practices, and how they've served you and how they've held you. And then we'll have some shares, some journaling, and yeah, just a nice morning session just for you, really, just to land in. So if you have got all your bits together, we've got our energy protection oil, a candle maybe, and you might want to light your candle now, so let's just do that. If you prefer to use sacred smoke or blessing herbs for the first bit, where we're just really calling our energy back to ourselves. And again, just been really present with yourself in this moment, and not kind of moving away from anything. There's when we light a candle, there is a an essence within Ayurveda which is called tejas, and tejas is this essence of the flame. It is the essence of fire. But the meaning also of tejas is to sit and stay with. So not to leave and move away from and avoid, but to sit and be present with really what is. And this is really, I believe, the energy of space holding needs to go to. It needs to move to, and it needs to expand into. That I'm not separate from you, you are not separate from me. Whoever sits in this circle, we are together. And we're here as one, in a group of women, circle of women who have been called through their soul really to guide this work, and to be gatekeepers of this work too. So as you light your candle, you can bring your oil in, and again, if you want to, you might have already started into a lovely practice of energy reclamation. We're going to open up the space with that, but just beginning to, as we drop in, and again, we're kind of signaling really to our body, to our mind, to our spirit, that we're entering into sacred space with ourselves. So as you bring your oil in, however you do that, whether you want to just swish it through your field, or you might want to just really touch your body with that oil. So maybe just giving yourself a massage if that feels good, because what we're really wanting to kind of create is this embodiment. So we come into the body as, you know, the human self, as again the vehicle really for the soul and for the energy to channel through us. So as we bring ourselves into the space, again, you might have your sovereign heart mantra there with you. But just to really bring in this idea that as we enter into this space, this is your time, this is your space, and you are calling your energy in from all of the places that it's been given outside of this space. So as you take that time to just connect and really call yourself back in and down, we're going to do some grounding in a minute. Through this mantra, I call my energy back. I honour all that I've given. I now tend to the sacred flame of my own life. I'm allowed to rest. I'm allowed to say no. I honour the wisdom of my boundaries. I give from fullness, not depletion. I return to my centre. I am whole. I'm sacred. I'm sovereign. And I am free. So taking a beautiful deep breath into your belly, into your heart. Bringing that nourishment right down through the belly. And maybe just releasing the breath through the mouth if that feels good. Just having your cacao close by, your beautiful medicine. And as you begin to allow your body to settle, allowing the edges of your awareness to soften, we move into a space of presence. Maybe just softly closing your eyes and entering inward. In any worries, any stress, any stimulation, just allowing all of that to dissolve. As you begin to allow your weight down, just feeling the ground beneath you supporting you, the earth holding you. And with your next breath, just feeling your spine rise naturally. Just feel that you're being gently drawn up through a golden thread that lifts you from your crown. And at the same time, your roots sink deep into the heart of the earth. Let's take another full, fluid breath in. And with each out breath, there comes an invitation to arrive, to land, to allowing the busyness of the morning to fade into the background. Allowing your awareness to drop from the mind into the body, into the heart, into this moment. And as you feel your breath, feeling it move in and out of your body with no effort at all, and just begin to allow the pulse of life to move through you. Maybe bring in your right hand to your heart, your left hand to your belly. And again, as we draw ourselves to a place of presence, let's feel the warmth of your skin, the rhythm of your breath. Feel your heart beating. You are here. You are safe. You are home. So with each inhale, just repeating, I arrive. And with each exhale, I soften. And as we invite this presence, we feel it as a lover's embrace, tender, steady. There's nowhere to get to, there's nothing to fix. There's just here and now, where our beautiful medicine cacao, our breath, our body and our soul meet. As you begin to feel the spirit of cacao beginning to communicate with you, the warmth, the sweetness, the invitation to open. Before we take our cacao in, just gently opening our space today to the women who held us our whole lives. We give great thanks. To the women around us who dance with us, sing with us, and impart their love and wisdom to us on a daily basis, we give great thanks. To the wise women of our futures, the ones who are not yet born, and the ones who are still so young but teach us most. Our beautiful sisters in our circle and those not present. Our circle today is now open. So as you gently draw your cacao towards your heart, again, just really slowly without breaking the energy of presence. Just feeling the energy of the medicine. And just feeling that her warmth meets your warmth. Her love meets your love. And as you breathe her in, just welcoming her into your space, into your field. May your spirit awaken love, clarity and connection. As you feel her presence, guiding us home, the holy order of Mother Earth, back to truth, back to presence. The earth that birthed her, to the hands that tended her, to the hearts gathered here in sacred sisterhood. As you allow yourself and really open yourself to fully receive in the love and the blessing of this medicine, with your first sip, you can welcome the spirit of the being. As you slowly and gently take your cacao, just savouring again each moment, which really allows us to come back to that place of presence. And really through the Tantric lens, we really start to tune into the senses. So the taste, all of the sounds around, how the medicine appears to you. We did our lovely tasting ritual last time. And again, just really with gratitude. And for many of us, just having that time to pause each day can be like the medicine to meet every day as this day that will never come again. Again, brings us back into the present moment, back into the here, back into the now. And just really reflecting on that and how maybe that phrase sits with you. This day that will never come again. This group of women that will never gather in the same way again. This journey that will never happen in this way again. So again, these ways of meeting ourselves each day allows us this, if you remember from last time, we worked with the contemplation of the monkey and the baby kitten. And so again, maybe as you reflect, did you really work with that medicine? Did you allow yourself to surrender a little into the kitten energy? Or did you come away and just rush back into the way that we always go that way? You know, and yeah, it's all been there, and then I'm going to go out there and it's just forgotten. So again, you know, these practices and what we're going to work with this weekend is this embodiment that, you know, and this again for me is very, very present at the moment. I'm working with this very deeply at the moment in my own life, is how I show up as being authentic. I'm not just doing it while I'm here in this space and then going off and, you know, being a dick. You know, it's in every moment. It's in every moment being present with what is and allowing all that is, the shadow and the light, to be present in whatever situation that is. So as you contemplate a little bit, and we're going to just do a little bit of journaling. So if you've got your journals there present before we share, I'd like just to have a moment of reflection on, yeah, how you experience that. What are your tendencies? Are you very monkey? Are you very kitten? Because we need both, of course we do. But again, you know, how is life showing up for us at the moment? You know, for many of us, and I'm sure Leslie will share, in astrology at the moment, it's really challenging at the moment. Like, you know, life is chucking us some big curveballs just now, to either throw us into our victim, which, you know, we're going to cover this weekend, actually the victim archetype, or an invitation to grow into more of who we are and into our next expansion, which is really what's been called of us at the moment, I believe. So as we you know, feel into these different contemplations, and really working with cacao is going to really, the medicine of cacao is going to invite us into heart-led living, heart-led businesses, heart-led. So this is the medicine for the future. So how am I showing up as heart-led? Now, one of the interesting things with this, again, that I've been working with myself, is if I'm being heart-led, how in love am I allowing myself to be with me? So again, how am I treating myself? So we want to be looking at this idea of congruence. It's no good in me holding spaces for others in love if I can't hold space for myself in love and allow myself to be vulnerable, to be scared, to be wrong, to be, you know, and be able to see all of that and bring it to the table. So again, looking at this, where, you know, if I'm to be in Svastha, to be situated in who I am, I need to know who I am and I need to know all of those vulnerable parts of me that were activated when I was little. So we look at all of that as well. So again, when we look at the baby monkey and the baby kitten, what did that awaken for you? That analogy, what did that awaken for you? You know, one of the big awarenesses I've just had myself just recently is around my mum, who was stoic, and you just got on with it. You just get on with it. You just keep going. You know, this sort of energy is what, for many of us, we might have been brought up with. And so that kind of does in some way push us to that baby monkey. We've got it all figured out. We know what we're doing. We're clinging on to outcomes. Everything, you know, we're moving through that energy. But I do believe that the circles of the future are going to be much softer and much more around vulnerability, allowing women to be soft, to be softer. That's what the feminine is about. But if we're not, you know, if we're judging ourselves for resting, if we're judging ourselves for taking time off, if we're judging ourselves, you know, and we're feeling guilty about it, then again, there's no congruence there in what we're teaching. So, again, with our daily practices, have we allowed ourselves to be consistent? Have we allowed ourselves sacred time? And what does that mean? What does that mean to take sacred time, to claim sacred time for ourselves? And then also maybe looking at our obstacles. You know, what are the parts that are unhealed that are obstacles for us to giving ourselves that time and space? And as we move into this idea of body connection, which I feel is a big part of the new way forward, is embodiment. Because for many of us, myself included, it's, you know, very much in head, and we all know, you know, we all know in the head. But again, how do we experience our center within our body? So this embodied awareness, how do we experience that? Because often, especially if, you know, if there's been any kind of trauma disruption in our lives, which I'm sure there has been, for many of us that are called to do this work, then what tends to happen is it's kind of easier to live out there, live up here, rather than actually feeling safe in the body. And we're going to be doing some work on grounding this weekend, because again, when we begin to slow down and we begin to enter a ritual and ceremony place, we need to feel safe in our body. You know, we come back to the roots, to the depths of who we are, the basement of who we are. Actually, we need to feel safe in that basement, you know. And then if we feel safe in our basement, then we become the grounding stone for others to feel safe to release in their basement as well. And this is a bit of an energetic kind of exchange. So, you know, again, when we go in and we feel into this idea of presence, where does presence live in my body? You know, if I was to close my eyes and drop in and down, do I drop in and down? Or am I up in the head, looking, seeing what's going on? I can't shut my eyes because I need to see what's going on. You know, this is when my eyes are open, we're thinking. When our eyes are closed, we're feeling. And again, when our eyes are closed, do we feel safe? And just notice those contemplations for yourself, because obviously when we're holding space for others, we need to feel safe. You know, so these are all things to cultivate. If there are areas where, you know, maybe we know that you know, there is work there to do. This is the work, you know, this is the work, and we'll always have work to do. So again, we're going to be looking at boundaries. We're going to be looking at our own self-care this weekend, self-care sandwiches, and how we care for our energy and our bodies in between holding space for others. And I'll also share a little bit about my own journey with that too. So, how are we all? Is that resonated a bit for everyone? Yeah, good. All right, good. So, we'll have a few shares, and I don't know if we did this last time, and I can't remember if we did. But usually in circle, if you've been in circle with me, especially more recently, there's a phrase that we say when we've finished sharing, and that is, "My name is, and I have spoken." So I may not have shared that or not. I can't remember if I did or not last time. My name is, and I've spoken. And so this is about really owning our words, and also then the group will speak back the word ashe. You might like to use the word aho, you might like to use the word awen. There's a few different ways that we can do that as a group collective. Ashe comes from the Yoruba tribe, and it is a word that, again, similar to namaste, similar to aho, these words that are often used as a blessing, as a, like an honoring of our, I see you as me. So again, we're not judging anyone. We're saying, I see you as me, and what is in you is in me. And this is so relevant because I believe when we start to call in our tribes and our circles, our families, or whatever you want to call that, our communities, whatever you're going through, your community is quite potentially going through a similar sort of thing usually. And so it kind of makes it in some ways a little bit easier, because we can then kind of tune into our own being, which is why we can't avoid ourselves, because often to hold powerful spaces and alchemy spaces, we share our vulnerability and what's going on for us, and that usually will ripple through the whole group, and usually is something that is really resonant for everybody in that space. So we are going to go through themes and things that we can use when we're getting going, but also there is it's an interesting thing with space holding, in that often the day before something will change and you'll go, oh okay, so this needs to come. And so don't be afraid to do that, because often it's somebody's energy within the group that may be shifted and needs that medicine. So what is your medicine is their medicine usually. So yeah. All right, good. So I'll have a little share first, and then so we can kind of see how that's going to go, and then we'll come through the group and just see how that has all been for you all, and how just how your month's been, and how everything has kind of gone. And usually what I normally find with this work is just and actually because of the season as well, just the practice of sitting with yourself each morning with cacao has quite profound effect on life, really. And so for most people, that is really helpful in itself. And then you've had a few different contemplations to work with as well. So for me at the moment, I think I'm just having a massive initiation fact, I think it's been going on for a while, probably the last couple of years, really. Some big initiations into valuing. I think value has been a big thing for me, and also what I've learned is that I grew up learning to give myself away. This has been, you know, just part of my own journey, and interestingly, the exact situation that's coming up for me at the moment, where I think I've shared that I'm being taken to court at the moment, and by somebody who entered into a training contract and then decided it wasn't for her and she would step out, and then start to kind of attack from the outside, really. Normally, I would say, okay, I'll just give you your money back, and, you know, no conflict. I don't want any conflict. That is my usual tactic, is avoidance at all costs, which I did initially. And then I took a breath and thought, no, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. I am saying yes to myself. I value the work, and I'm going to stand into my power, which I did, which has now escalated into it going to court, which is like the biggest frightening thing that has ever happened to me. I've just got a court date this week, so I know when it's happening, and I know it's happening. So it's been really, really scary for me. But what has come out of that, which I think is going to be on the other side of it, the most powerful lesson, is I value myself and I value my work, and I am willing to go and put myself through the most discomfort that this is going to be to honor myself. And it's been a huge, huge, huge lesson for me in this. And so even though it's been hard, and it is hard, and it's really, really, really uncomfortable, I believe it's going to be one of my greatest teachings. So that's kind of like what's going on for me at the moment. And yes, I can equally drop into victim. Oh, poor me, poor me, poor me, and I can do that thing. But equally, you know, I can also feel like, wow, this is a big initiation. This is a big movement, and it's a big shift. So anyway, so yeah, that's kind of like what's going on for me, and what's coming. What I anchor to every day is my practice. Every single day, I've been present with what is. Every day, been present with what is this teaching me? What is this bringing up in me? What I am being absolutely dug out from the basement on every level. And oh my God, it is scary and beautiful all at the same time. So yeah, so that's kind of my share. And actually, just going to share something else, actually, because it is quite related, really. So when I was in Ibiza last week, obviously with a week's retreat, to hold space for a week in this vulnerable place, right? I felt awful. I really felt awful. I'd had like a trauma release. I felt awful. I've got a therapist in place at the moment who's guiding me, and we had a session, and my first kind of words that I said is, how can I hold this space in this state? And she said, you can either put a mask on and show up, you've done it so many times before, or you can be real. And she said, and if you are real, I can tell you this will be the most powerful retreat space you have ever held. And 100%, I was real from day 1 to day 7. And it was the most powerful to allow the other women in that circle to also hold me. And it was just magic. It was just magic, and it was beautiful. And it taught me more about community, about the love of other women and the magic of other women than I've ever been taught in all the years I've been doing the work. So, it was so, so beautiful, and to move into a deeper level. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now, but my name is Andrea, and I have spoken. All right, gorgeous. I'm going to just bring up Vicky, because you're next on my screen, my love. to share your journey for the last month and where you're at?
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So first of all, Andrea, I just want to give you an oxytocin hug. So I feel your pain, honestly. And thank you for sharing that as well. So my month, well, today, the last sort of 2 weeks, I have felt quite vulnerable and fragile and a little bit unsteady, I think, as well. And I don't know if I have got something going on that is unexpected. But without going into that, my month started off from our last meet. I thought, well, I'm going to work with the turns of the day. Because because of the way my life is, I work shifts. So I either start work at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, or I start at 7. So I started working with the turns, and I'm always up between sort of 5 and 6, and I've been going out for my runs, but have been waking up earlier, and I've been wanting to go out because as soon as I wake up, I feel like I need to get out. But haven't been. I've been sitting, and that sitting has been quite hard for me. Although I'm usually okay with it, but at different times of the day, but not at that time in the morning. When I get up at that time in the morning, I feel as if I need to sort of get out and run. But I've noticed a massive change in energy levels, even though I've been getting up earlier and going to bed a little bit earlier. My cacao has been on a night as well. I've stuck with the same recipe that I usually use. I've not messed about with the recipe yet because I just don't have time. So my cacao has been just almond milk, cacao, agave syrup, a little bit of cinnamon and salt. The energy levels I felt have been profound. The ginger tincture as well that I asked you about, do you remember? I've been doing that since then, and just picking at it, and I found that really helps as well, because I'm a person that, although I'm a vata, I do overeat, and I suffer from really bad bloating, and sometimes I can look 6 months pregnant, and that is, honestly, I feel great. Unless it's like the working with the turns of the day as well that I've sorted, like my eating out and my bowel movements have changed, because I know you probably don't all want to wear this, but I probably never went to toilet till about dinner time or sort of after dinner, but now I'm going as soon as I get up. That downward energy. I've really, I mean, I did the massage anyway, the Abhyanga massage anyway, but I've really took to the foot massage, especially putting oils on my feet as I get into bed. And I found that really grounding, whether that's making me sleep better as well. But I've noticed that I'm running for longer and I'm out walking for longer, and my feet need that extra care. So that's another massive sort of shift for me. I'm really consistent. I've always been consistent, but maybe too much. I'm a little bit kind of regimental in the things I do. Once I start some, that's it, I'm regimental, which I don't think is a bad thing, really. What else have I written down? I try to on a more sort of, without going into all the stuff that I've got going on. I've ran a retreat day, and I've ran a cacao morning as well, my Sunday sanctuary with cacao and yoga. And the cacao, I felt like I've really sort of embraced your practices and teachings, and that's really come across. And like you say, sharing from that place of vulnerability, because there was, when I did one last Sunday, I thought, how can I do this with all this going on? And I went and I did it, and it was more, I'm a waffling. No. I am waffling, aren't I? But I feel like I felt sort of really upbeat at first, but now I'm sort of feeling a little bit because of everything that's going on. I'm feeling a little bit sort of fragile, unsteady, and grounded. But so if like yourself, I'm not myself this weekend. That's why. But I feel like I do have to just honour myself and just be with myself at the minute. But just going back to your issue, hope I've just been called for jury service. I hope I'm not there when you're there. God forbid.
Probably not.
Probably not. But anyway, yes, and that's another thing. I had quite a lot of holidays. Sort of, it's kind of like the universe is putting things in my way, but for a purpose. Because I had two or three things planned in December, and then I got this letter summoning me to jury service. I've had to cancel all them, which would have been cancelled anyway, for other reasons. But yeah, but in terms of the training and everything, I think everything's going well. I feel like I'm really learning, and I feel like I'm changing. So my name's Vicky, and I'm spoken.
Ashay, thank you, Vicky, beautiful, gorgeous. Yeah, it sounds like you're regulating, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I need it. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's lovely. Thank you. Anne-Marie, you're next on my screen.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Straight after we had our last meeting, I went on holiday. We've bought a mobile home. We bought that in the summer, so we went off on our first trip. So I spent the first 3.5 weeks I was away. So you know, it's just every day being out in nature, being with the dog, seeing all the different kinds of places that we went to. It was lovely, and I realized while we were away that I was very tired, that I tend to push myself too far, especially when I'm working. So I take on clients when really I should have them on a waiting list or whatever, you know. So that was, for me, was a time of realizing I do need more of that downtime and being, not judging myself, as you said, for resting or taking time off. That was a major thing that came through in September. And then we got back, and I'd hardly been back 3 or 4 days, and then my aunt died, Auntie, who lives in the Yorkshire Dales. And she's very dear to me because we spent a lot of time as children there. She was like a second mum. My mum was ill a lot, so we spent lots of time in Burnsall. And it's very upsetting me at the moment, not because she died, because she was 90 and I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure she's already on the other side. But what's upsetting me at the moment is they're not letting the body out. The coroner's looking into the death, and that I can feel that is so destabilizing me at the moment. Yeah. Just let her go. She died. She's 90. It's okay. We don't need to know as a family if there was anything wrong with the operation. So yes, I've gone back into a state for the past week, but yeah. We'll get through it. And it was interesting what you said about your retreat in Ibiza, because the same thing happened to me in the summer when I went to Glastonbury. I knew I was ill, but I still went, and I had to go to the hospital on the first day. And exactly the same thing happened. All the ladies were tremendous. They more or less looked after themselves for 2 days. And then I, jumped back in. So yeah, that resonated a lot as well. Yeah. Okay, that's me.
Amazing.
My name is Anne-Marie, and I have spoken.
Ashay, thank you, Anne-Marie, beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just finding this, really interesting. Again, the invitation is, do we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, or do we put the mask on and keep going? It's so interesting. It was so interesting and so tempting to put the mask on and keep going. So tempting to do that, you know, pretend nothing wrong. I'm okay. I've got this. I can do it, you know. Yeah, so interesting. Pamela, lovely Pamela. How you doing?
Hello, hi everybody. Yeah, last month I didn't share. Yeah, because my husband was sitting in the dining room, and I'm conscious that he's not listening, but he is really listening. And I thought, yeah, I know it sounds really silly, but you don't. He probably wouldn't have been bothering, but I'm like that. Really don't want to be talking and being honest and how I'm feeling and all the rest of it, and he's sitting kind of thing, because half of my issues are related to him. But firstly, before I do share, can I say, as a retired police officer, 30 years in the police, as you say in Scotland, going to court doesn't matter. You could be seasoned detective, whatever. See, going to court, it's not the nicest feeling in the world. And the only advice I can give you is, see, when you are given evidence, is you be honest, because I had always had that in my heart space, and I thought, see, if I'm honest, nobody can say anything to me. And I always felt when I was standing there, I used to have that shield, you know, invincible. I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
You're lying. And it always showed. They could turn around and say, you're not, I put it to you this, and I was like, that's a lot of shite. But not quite in those words. But it always, and it strangely always showed that the truth prevailed, shall we say. All that's it. So obviously the issues with this lady, I would say that eventually you'll go to court and they'll realise, oh, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have, you know, kind of a thing. And you will reign supreme, shall we say, because anybody who's done your training obviously knows you give more than what you put out, kind of thing. And that you say, I'm doing ABC, but you also give EFG, you know, you always give a lot more. But anyway, enough of that.
Thank you.
So helpful. Yeah, so good luck when you, but as I say, you always know that you're right. And I always think, but I'm not saying that there's going to be, but anyway, what was I going to say? My shares. So having done your cacao training a couple of years ago, and continuing with cacao, doing ceremonies and holding space for people, teaching yoga, doing all my bits and pieces. Probably the last year has been shitty, because I've had my mum not well, and if it's not one thing, it's another thing, it's another thing. She's got heart problems, she's got rheumatoid arthritis, she's got issues with her feet, she's got asthma, she's got chronic fatigue, she's got bloody everything. And one thing happens, and I am literally her taxi service, and my diary is full of her appointments. So I can't say no, because there's nobody else to take her, and I wouldn't let her get a bus or a taxi. So doing that, and also she's got skin cancer as well. So it's backwards and forwards. And then just the other month there, Ian went for his 3-monthly appointment for his checks, and they found more skin cancer on him. And so this is where it's all kind of triggered for me, because the NHS is fantastic, but they said we need to get that out because it's aggressive skin cancer that he has. And they said we need to get that out as soon as possible. We're going to send you for a CT scan, urgent CT scan. You've got an urgent appointment for your operation. And he got his urgent CT scan really quickly. And then a couple of weeks went by, and I'm like to him, why have you not been in for your operation yet? And I said, previous couple of months ago, said the same thing happened. You had to go in for an urgent appointment, and I guarantee we were going to Aviemore for a few days. We had all these activities booked, and they took him in, and then he couldn't go on the bikes, he couldn't do this, we had to cancel things, and he got his operation, and as I say, he couldn't, where it was, it affected how he walked and everything, so he couldn't go on a bike. And I says, we're going back up to Aviemore in the school holidays next week. I said, it's going to be the bloody same. And he's like, I'll phone. So he phoned, sorry, I feel as if this is a long story. He phoned, and the secretary went, it's just down as a routine appointment, it'll be next year sometime. Well, I just went, Wee. And eventually the consultant phoned that afternoon, and he apologised. He said, I'm really sorry, Mr. Greer, I've ticked the wrong box. I ticked routine instead of urgent. We'll get you in as soon as possible. So he's getting in Tuesday.
Brilliant.
So again, we go to Aviemore on Wednesday. So everything that we've booked, we're going to have to cancel. For him, we'll still do it. Cara and Jack will do, and the three of us will do it. And he's in it. Just see all that stress kind of a thing. It's just been horrendous. Added on to everything with my mum. And because I didn't share the last time, because all that's been going on, and I let myself go, I neglected my self-care, I neglected myself. I could see my cacao in the jar, and I just would look at it and I wouldn't use it. And so since then, every morning, I do my tongue scraping, I do my oil pulling, I do my abhyanga, abhyanga, and I do other wee rituals as well, and then I take my cacao and see the difference, just getting into that wee routine again. And it is definitely, because what I do is I work with plant medicines as well, so plant spirit. So this last wee while I've been working with feverfew, and feverfew is the plant of holding sacred space.
Oh, really?
So using feverfew, holding space, it is absolutely, with my cacao, has just grounded me, because I felt, obviously I'm Vata, so I was, I'll be up here, so I've really had to ground. So I have listened to, I've got recordings from you from before, and I've listened to them. I have done journey work, working with my ancestors, and started now, because you're talking about protection and boundaries and stuff, and shadow work, because they were in shadow work season right up to 7, and this is the time where I need to protect my boundaries. And you're talking about being vulnerable, and I always believe clearing it out, bringing it out to the light. And definitely over the last few years of working with you and a few other people, I definitely have cleared a lot of shit, because having PTSD from being in the police, it raised its ugly head yesterday, because I was getting interviewed at the local hospice where I do voluntary work, and they wanted me sharing, and I talked about my police work, retiring, and then doing my voluntary work with the hospice, and the guy was dead interested in it all, but it brought up some stuff, and it brought up, weirdly enough, about boundaries. And when I was doing my family liaison work for obviously all the deaths and things, I didn't say no, and I was juggling, and then the burnout happened, and obviously lost my mental health, and that brought all that back. So it's actually strange that you're going to be talking about that all, because yesterday when I came home, I had to do some inner work to release it, to get rid of it, because of obviously holding it in kind of thing, and getting rid of it. Definitely, I feel much lighter this morning, actually. So, oh, it's my door. My husband's in the front door. God, I got a fright there with the noise of the door. But so yeah, much lighter. So I am. My name is Pamela, and I've spoken.
I say.
And I locked the door. I've obviously locked the side door. and he couldn't
Popped
get
him out.
in, so he's come in the front door and he's gave me a fright. Oh, right,
Lovely.
thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, just interesting. What I love about the Magic Circle is that everybody will, like, there'll be something going on here, and it looks like boundaries are going to be a big theme. Lovely, Sue. I think you just got to unmute yourself, honey. Oh, sorry, I've just bloody muted you again. Sorry.
Can
There
you
you
hear
go.
me?
Yeah, that's it.
Hi, everybody. This last month, I don't know, I'm thinking about the monkey and the kitten. I think I'm been more sloth. I just had no energy. I don't know. I just feel absolutely shattered, and I can't really think of anything that I've done different, but my energy levels just seem to be real down. I probably have been neglecting myself. So this past week, I've really tried putting those self-care practices back in. I've been having nice long soaks in the bath with lots of Epsom salts, and then doing a nice body massage afterwards. But yeah, I've had quite a bit going on these last few months, and I think maybe it's just all catching up with me, and I'm just, I don't know, maybe I need to just hibernate for a few months. So yeah, there's nothing really I can put my finger on and say it's because of this or this. I think it's just been a accumulation of several things.
Yeah.
I've not held any more circles since I did my first one back in August. But again, I think that's a confidence thing. So I'm hoping over the next few months just to get a bit more confidence back. And as you probably all remember, I'm doing Andrea's yoga teacher training course and really enjoyed it. We've only 3 more to do, haven't we, Andrea? So I'm going to try and set myself a little goal, a little target that I'm going to use these next 3 months to ground myself, nourish myself, and stay true to myself. And hopefully build on my confidence. My name is Sue, and I've spoken.
Ashe, thank you, beautiful, gorgeous. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, energy is interesting, isn't it? You know, like sometimes, because I know Sue's had quite a bit going on, and we're hitting autumn. So, you know, we're going into hibernation season, which often, you know, again, it's that time of year where everything's dying. So things are dying off. There's this invitation to let go, to soften. And what I love about what Sue's just shared is quite similar, because I can just so resonate with that, is that I don't know what's wrong with me. I have no energy. Like there's nothing wrong with you because you have no energy. Unfortunately, we've been kind of conditioned to think we've got to be on all the time, no matter what's going on. We've just got to keep putting that front on. And I know that Sue was a nurse, so I know that she's been in that, you know, and like Pamela, you know, in the police force, in those jobs and roles where you just have to put a mask on and keep going. And this is, you know, there's an invitation to look at that, because there is an invitation to say, well, fuck it, I'm actually going to stay in bed all week this week a bit later, and I'm going to actually gift myself the time to rest. And that also sometimes, you know, again, of course we want to balance that between resistance, because resistance can feel like tiredness as well. And also, actually, I'm emotionally integrating and digesting a lot of stuff that's happened. And actually, my body needs rest. And that's okay. And self-care. And that's okay. So, you know, again, looking at what we've learned about care and about rest, because my mum never rested. Never, I mean, it killed her, but she never rested. You know, she never took time to rest. I never learned that as a child, that rest is as important as action. And from an energy point of view, when we slow down, our energy speeds up. And so if we look at that in a different way, that if something new's coming, something's going to want to burst through us, you know, we're going to channel something new, we're going to need to slow down for that to drop, for it to land. Because if you think about it, like, you know, it's like when spirit's trying to come through us to channel its energy, it's like it's trying to hit a moving target when we're moving around all the time. So, you know, I think there is a big piece that is often missed around this, you know, slowing down, grounding. This is feminine form, though. This is not knowing. This is actually not knowing. This is actually allowing ourselves to sit back a bit and rest with what is and be ready for what's coming, for what is going to be birthed through us. And we need to cultivate that and be able to, again, give ourselves the space for that to happen. It's such a big thing, and it's really hard to do. Really, really hard to do. So, yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Leslie.
Hi, everyone. Lovely to be here. I have no idea why I'm pink.
You are pink.
Yes, I think it's the internet connection, and I daren't mess about with it. So I'll just be pink. It's a suitable colour anyway.
You can be pink. It's nice. It works.
It does. It does. But our internet, we're out in the back and beyond. It's not very good. So yeah, this last month I so resonate. I've forgotten your name. Who's the police leader? Pamela. Yeah, I so resonate with that. I am caring for my parents who are in there. My dad's over 90, my mum's kind of not far off, and all of the dementia problems and that sort of thing. So my diary is full of their appointments, the same as yourself. Nightmare, really, you know. But at the same time, I've started to take time for myself. If I don't, I will just burn out, you know. And this training has reminded me of what I need to do. I've done the training. I think I was on the first one, to be honest.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, yeah. It's a while, but it was COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was unreal.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, it's a lovely refresher, a lovely, lovely refresher. And I've decided that this is kind of where I want to be. I've done loads of trainings. I'm a Sagittarian. I'm full on. And that burns me out as well. I thought, no, just be a master. You know, let's learn, you know, something perfectly. So that's where I'm at with all of that. But going back to mothers, I think for me, it's been I don't know why, but my maternal lineage is a line of hard women. We are northern women.
Yeah.
We just, like you say, get on with it. You know, my mum never gave herself an inch of self-care, and she still doesn't. You know, she won't let anybody care for her. She won't let them. I'm capable of it myself, but of course she isn't. That's in her head, you know. She didn't do any cleaning. She thinks she does. It's so difficult. And I thought, oh, this is so it'll be some lesson that I need to learn.
Yeah.
But it's really difficult. Yeah, it's her birthday this week. So she's a Libra, and she's just not, bless her little heart, she's just not the same person, you know. Alzheimer's is a really awful disease, and she's just slipping away, really. And my poor dad, he's sat there wondering where his wife is, and she's
yeah, bless him.
No.
Yeah.
So we have all of that going on. But I've moved them into a lovely new flat. But of course, that's taken loads of my time. Still got to sort the old one out, but at least they're in the new one and they're loving it. I thought, yes, thank goodness, something's right. Because we are very objectionable about loads of things. But yeah, back to Cacao, I've been absolutely, every day. When I work, I still work with my partner. We have a minibus business, and my work is early morning, so I find it quite difficult to do things at the same time because I'm a spare person. And this week I've been full on working, so it interferes with my ability to be consistent. I mean, I always do it, but not always at the same time. I can't at the moment. But I think I'll retire this year. That's something that's come to me. I thought, yeah, I need to do something different. Do something for me, really. So what else was going to say? I've actually, speaking of therapists, I've allowed myself to have a crystal healing session. I'm in that vein of my lineage. I can do it all by myself, and kind of I had this amazing crystal healing session with some astrology in it. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. So even though it brought things up, it was still amazing. So yeah, I'm going to go back for some more. And I think that is going to be my self-care for myself for a while, just to work with old patterns from childhood. My mother, I've always been scared of her, to be honest. She doesn't realize it, but she's quite formidable. So I've got to deal with that myself. What else? Thank you for sharing about Feeve with you, Pamela. I think that's it, really. I'm just really enjoying the whole right into, obviously, with the astrology and the moon, but you don't sort of learn the these cycles, really, the different I don't know, it's different. So yes, thank you very much, Andrea, I'm just so glad you shared it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I am Leslie. My name is Leslie, and I have spoken.
Ashe, beautiful, Leslie. Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting because in the circle, which I observed, it was quite interesting. This retreat that I just did, had in there a lady. She was a German lady, actually, lives in Germany, and we shared every day, so we did these shares every day, and it was interesting how this lady never shared anything of herself, though. So every time it kind of came around the circle, she talked up here about things like as if she was teaching, if you know what I mean. But it was really interesting how it was like a diversion. It was like a diversion tactic away from what actually was going on down here. And just really reminded me then, Leslie, what you were saying about the stars, and like talking about all this celestial stuff up here, but actually never really acknowledging what was going on down here. And we did a closing ritual at the end, which, if those of you that have been in space with me probably will know it, the water blessing. And she was really tearing up when we were doing that, and it was so beautiful to see, because it was like she could feel something. Never found out anything about what was going on with her at all, because it was every time it was the share was up and out. So it was very interesting, just to be able to witness without any judgment, but just sometimes how maybe it is too painful to be in and down, and of course if we think about down in the belly, in the womb, in the the roots, this is often, you know, the basement where all our pain lies. And so, you know, sometimes we don't feel safe in our body, which is why we're going to do quite a big bit on grounding, because, you know, we want to know what's in our basement, because otherwise, if we can't ground our energy, then we do get depleted when we're holding space, for sure. So yeah, it's interesting. Thank you. Annie.
Good morning, or is it good afternoon?
Good afternoon.
Hi. It's actually making me feel really emotional listening to what everybody's saying this morning. I just really resonate with so much of it.
Mm.
I think my whole life I've kind of everybody else has been more important. And you know, I was learning disability mental health nurse. So, you know, the whole thing about looking after other people and doing shift work and then it's like Leslie was just saying, looking after parents, and I've lost both of mine now, but the last few years have been. So I'm only just starting, like these last few years within all that, sort of thinking about myself and like doing these courses. And so I still find it quite difficult, really, the self-care thing. And I'll let little things in. I think I've been one morning out there barefoot on the grass and it was absolutely amazing. I had a fantastic day.
Yeah.
It just set the mood for the day. It was amazing. The cacao I've used for quite a while. I still don't use it every day, so I need to kind of switch it up a little bit. But the days I do have it, I really notice. It sounds a bit odd, but I'm kind of calmer but more focused. But I suppose that's what it does, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a massage, but I haven't done any self-massage.
Nice.
I'm being kinder to myself and I'm much more in the moment and realizing my thought patterns and kind of cutting them off and changing the mantra of it, you know, making it into a more positive and not judging. And so there's a lot of work going on, but very different, I think. Yeah, work in progress. So my name is Annie and I have spoken.
Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, that's so gorgeous. Yeah, absolutely. A work in progress. I love that. I mean, the thing is also that I think and you know, I mean, and I think the more I understand the work that this is, because I'm still understanding it. You know, when I first started out circles, I had literally had a big light bulb moment that in a training that I was doing, that something like 95% of women's dis-ease is caused through lack of expression. And that was the reason, and then I was teaching yoga at the time, but that was the reason I set up Circle, because I thought, well, if that is like such a high percentage, then just by opening up a circle space, you might save someone's life. And that felt like, well, why not do that? Because that might just save someone's life. And I did, and it kind of it went from there. But what I also have, I'm learning and still learning, is that these spaces are also energetic. And as much as, yeah, we show up, we set up the space, we make it lovely for everybody, it's our energy that alchemizes the energy in the room. It's being embodied in whatever is present for us in that moment that is the alchemy in the room. Because really, in a way, and it's a little bit like in yoga, really, what I teach in yoga as well, in, you know, the yoga world, there's all this really perfection on a mat is what we're seeing, gymnastics on a mat and all this shit. And really what that does is it just feeds the perfection wound that really what we're trying to do is actually break down. Is, you know, because really what we want to be doing is actually showing up now in our vulnerability and saying, oh, you know, I am a human being. I am no different to any of you that I'm sat in circle with. I am human. I have got shit going on. And these are the tools that I use to help me through. And so we're kind of sharing really, I think, in circle, as well as, you know, as the love and the inspiration and everything else that comes in that circle. But we're also sharing a lifestyle practice that will help women be more authentic. That is really, for me, the you know, the root of it all, is that, you know, again, we can, you know, and you know, this is another thing I've seen a lot. In fact, the person who was taking me to court, interestingly, was the mindset: oh, you can make loads of money doing that job. And this is not what this job is about. This is not what this job is about. Not for me, anyway. This job, which isn't even a job, it's a service for me. It's a dedication. It's a devotional practice that, to change the way women feel about themselves, to change the disease level of women in the world. It's on a bigger scale than, oh yeah, you know, equation 10 people, 35 quid, that's £350 for 2 hours work, which is exactly what was happening with this particular person, you know. And see that all, oh, that's easy, I can easily do that, you know, that's easy to do. It's kind of not easy to do in a lot of ways, because again, we have to be really raw and truthful and honest with ourselves to be able to do that and to be able to hold space. And that is why I love women who come to this work who have had a rough and tumble life, because it's the rough and tumble life that gives you the capacity to hold space in a compassionate way and not judge people. Because we have been there. There is not much, very, very little that comes before me in a circle that I have not experienced in my body, in my own life. So that allows me then to be able to feel into this and what this is showing and what this person might actually be experiencing in this moment. So interestingly, though, I'm just going to say this before we finish, because it just came up in therapy last week for me, was around intuition. And I really didn't, there was no abuse whatsoever in our family, and I would never have said like I had a you know, any sort of distorted upbringing. However, I had an upbringing with no boundaries whatsoever. And I had an upbringing where we moved house every 2 years, and every 2 years on the Friday night I'd come home from school, the house would be packed up, and Monday morning we'd be starting a new school. Now, for a child, that is a trauma. It is a trauma. And I never thought about that as being a trauma. But what happens through those little traumas, and I'm sure many of you, I mean, this is not a trauma by any means on what, to some level, what people experience, but it was a trauma nonetheless. And what happens with trauma is, when we're little, is we begin to move into a trauma response, which becomes intuition. Because what happens is we get heightened into, is this place safe? How does this feel? Is this okay? And so it kind of, in a way, for this sort of work, is brilliant that we have a really online intuition, but it comes often from a trauma response when we're little, and which I found was very interesting. I always thought, oh, I must have got that from my dad or my mum, or I'm not sure where I got it from. It belongs to someone else. But actually, it was a trauma response from those things that happened in childhood that felt scary, and all of a sudden you become in this hypervigilant state. And I've been in that for all my life, actually, as my life's gone on. And I'm just working on actually trying to regulate my nervous system more, because I've been on high alert for a lot of my life, and I've learned that is a pattern. So great when we're space holding though, because it's really good, you know, for being able to feel into energy in the room. But it actually comes from a trauma response, which I found very interesting. So let's have a quick pee break, and then I want to go into, I've given you some, I think it was probably the first weekend there was like some space holders release rituals. I'm going to go into them as well this weekend. So if you just have them all, so I just remembered. And after lunch, we're going to work on the format, which is on page 97 of your manual. We're going to go through that. But I'd like to, just before we have lunch and have a break, I just want to go through just a session on grounding and why it's important for us. So get yourselves a cup of tea, have like 5 minutes just to get a pee, and maybe, you know, if you've got your journals and stuff, because you might want to write some of this stuff down. I can also share this with you, because this is a bit of an addition to the manual. So this is a kind of like newish work. All right, so I shall see you in a mo. On a countdown now, Annie. So excited.
Me too. It's not long, is it?
No. It'd be nice to get away, actually. My partner's in hospital again, actually, as well. That's another thing.
Oh, bless him. Not
Isn't it?
again.
Yeah. Honestly, it's such a drainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got another infection that's taken over again. So he might be getting moved to Hull, actually.
Oh,
But your way, Vicky. Yeah, I think I'm hoping they're going to keep him in long enough to actually get on top of this infection that he keeps getting, because they seem to get it down and then let him out, and then as soon as he comes off antibiotics, it's coming back again. So
is he using like probiotics? Is he getting his good bacteria up? And it
he's a
really
muggle.
sounds like if he's on a lot of antibiotics, he needs
He's
to
a
get that.
muggle, Annie. He's a muggle. What's this for? What is it? I'm not having it. Or if it don't work in one hit, it's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not having it. You have to be on him all the time. But yeah,
Difficult one.
he's back in at the moment, so we'll see. I think they're talking about surgery now. So I don't know. It's a bloody drainer.
Well, Beck's in New Zealand, but she needs to come back for another operation now.
No
So,
way. Is
yeah,
she?
stone's prolapsed again. So
Oh, little love.
he's holding it off till next summer. He's trying to manage it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting just hearing everyone's stuff, really, because I think I would say that you know, when like say you're kind of a pillar for, when you're doing this work, you're kind of like a pillar in some ways, aren't you, for a lot of people. And then but you like my life has been chaos. I can't even tell you how much chaos has been going on around. And both my kids have been in hospital. My granddaughter's been in hospital. I've had this court case. Michael's been in hospital. It's been one thing after another since last year, honestly. And it's just been, how do you keep holding your centre when all of this stuff's going on around you? And I think even like what Pamela was saying as well, it is frustrating because it's not kind of, it's like affecting your life, but it's also not your story, if you know what I mean. Like it's just, yeah, well, it just is, it's life, isn't it? But I think that what I am kind of taking from all of that is there is a teaching within the sort of tradition about being in the world but not of the world, and it's in every tradition. And this is what I feel like we're being taught at the moment, is to be in the world. We're in this muggle stuff with all the shit going on, but also to be able to step out. Like when I step into sacred space, all of that dissolves. It's not, it dissolves, unless obviously I'm in here and sharing. But yet equally at the same time, it also is part of who we are, so we can't step away from it as such, but we can still be in a channel to it, even though it is all going on. And again, looking for the teachings and all of that. So, if we're having to do hospital visits, and we're maybe worried about another, or whatever's going on in the chaos, in a way, what tends to happen is we move away from that which helps us ground. I don't know if anyone else has experienced it. I do. That if I'm in a bit of a chaos situation, I go away from the things I actually need, rather than go, right, I need to get on my mat at the moment, and I need to do my yoga practice, and I need to do my cacao and my journaling. I'm more likely to go into the whole, again, the victim of, oh, poor me, it's all happening to me, and I'm not going to do the things that I need to do to help. So yes, I thought we'd go into a little bit around this theme of grounding, and really this again, what I was saying earlier about the basement is so important, and it really goes hand in hand with the feminine. So again, really observing, and this has come more recently for me because it's a teaching I'm having at the moment that I never used to share before in teaching this, because I never felt like I needed to protect my energy, because I never felt like there was anything out there that could harm me. I don't feel like that, and I don't feel like that. But now what I realize is, really to be able to allow ourselves to be authentic and vulnerable and real in space, we do need a little bit of that going on, because we are giving really in those spaces from the depth of ourselves. Now, when we're in the feminine, what I'm experiencing at the moment is a very distorted feminine energy that has come into my field, and it's teaching me a lot around trusting my gut. Now, this will come into play when you are bringing people into your circles. If it's off, if it feels off, it is. There's no question, because this particular person, I knew it fell off. It fell off from day one, and I knew. So from that teaching, again, when we've done our work on ourselves and we look at the basement, now, if I come down into my basement, which is important to look at, because what I learned was there was no boundary, and I learned that my value was it's just to be given away. So that is the truth that my basement has been in, and that's what I learned from the female energy that was the mother energy, which is the earth. So, and I come to ground myself in that knowing, or that understanding, that the earth mother energy means giving myself away, just giving energy away without any boundary, then that is exactly what I'm going to do when I start grounding. So we need to look at that really, and I'm going to actually put you into just a couple of groups just to have a little chat about this, because to put our roots down, which is what we have to do energetically to ground ourselves, if we don't trust the mother, so the mother's been distorted in any way, or we feel the feminine is distorted in any way, because for many of us, if we've had that distortion in the feminine line, we've had friends that have attacked us, or anything on that line, to be able to ground is going to be harder, because subconsciously we know that earth is mother and feminine, and how can we put our roots into something we don't trust? So this is really it's quite important, I think, for us. So what are our beliefs around the feminine, and how does the feminine represent? Because the mother line might be controlling, she might be critical, she maybe shames you, so if that is your truth, if that's what the feminine, that's how the feminine has shown up for you, then your roots are not going to want to go deep into that energy, because it's not going to feel safe. So we'll have a little look about that. So again, when we're moving into our, for many of us, we're probably already holding space, but to approach this in a different way, a new way really, which I believe is a new way forward, and really through through all my work now, especially more than ever really, I like to share this embodied practices. So if we are embodied in the daily ritual, which is why the first month you all do the daily ritual, then when you are creating the space, holding the space, whatever you want to call it, you are just transferring what you do every day, embodied practice, into a circle space. So it makes it easy, and it makes it like, well, it doesn't make it easy. It's not always easy, but it makes it real and it makes it embodied. And so what this idea that when you enter a space, any space, your nervous system speaks before you even open your mouth. So if we're grounded, calm, relaxed before we enter that space, everybody who comes in that space is going to feel calm and grounded and relaxed, because your energy is the grounding stone for the group. It's going to help everybody feel relaxed. I mean, most of you, I bet everybody in this circle has heard someone say, oh, I feel so much calmer when you're there, or I feel really calm when I've been chatting to you. I bet you all have had that, yeah? I bet you all have had that at some point in your life. I feel really calm when I speak to you. I feel really calm when I'm in that space with you. Or you know someone who you feel like that with. That's energy. That is energy. And because we're living in now in a world of energy and frequency, which we certainly are, the veils, or the kind of, especially at this time of year, we've got this sort of thinning of the veils because we're moving into Vata season, air element. We're actually naturally getting more and more ungrounded actually at this time of year. So really, we really do need to be making sure that every day we are really consciously grounding our energy through our rituals, the things that we do every day, and allowing whatever's in the basement to be seen. So, we can bring that up, because again, if we have sourced our value through overdoing, overgiving, which I'm betting most of us have done because of our mother line, then that's exactly what we're going to then transmit into our circle and into our into our work, into our business even. In fact, it kind of comes from a prostitute archetype, actually. That's where that comes from. That just giving ourselves, just giving everything away. And this is the prostitute archetype in full flow. So we sort of we want to be looking at all these different things and bringing them to the table lovingly and compassionately. This is who I am. This is a shadow. This is a part of me that is a bit distorted, but I'm going to love her back into integration. I'm going to know who I am, because again, if we come back to this idea of Svastha, to be situated in who I am with all of my quirks and shadows and distortions, then I know my own energy. I know who I am. So I'm not going to get triggered by someone else. Oh, well, I might get triggered by somebody else in the group, in the circle, but I also know what's mine and what's theirs. So there is a definitive line between us. We are together, we are one, we are in a circle, but that is yours and this is mine. This is about being in a love lane and being in your own canoe. So you get in your own canoe. This is my stuff in my canoe. I know who I am, and that is your stuff, and that's in your canoe, and you can sail off away with that stuff, and I don't need to take it in my canoe and take it with me. Does that make sense? Yeah, because as soon as you sit in circle, everyone's going to dump the shit into the circle. It's all going to come into the circle. And for those of you that are very, very empathic, you don't want to be taking that home with you. You are in a neutral space. You are neutral. This is your stuff, and I hold you in compassion, but it's not my stuff to take home with me. Otherwise, it will drain. It will really drain energy. So as we move into this idea of grounding, we want to be feeling like the mountain in that circle. We want to feel like the stone, the grounding rock the one who is unshakable. Those of you who are air elements may need to do a bit more work on that, because sometimes it's harder to, you know, when we're naturally that, you know, that essence of this, to actually get our roots down. So even more importantly for you, and I think that so really also we want to be looking at what is our intention for holding this circle. So what is it that we want to do? Like for me, in my circles, my I would say one of my I suppose it's a gift, or whatever, we all have our gifts, is empowerment and transformation. These are the things I love. So I know that when I go into a circle space, or I'm holding space, or whatever it is, my intention is that women go away feeling empowered and feeling transformed, and that is the energy that I bring to the circle. And why I do that is because that is my distortion. That is the bit that is my work, because I don't feel enough most of the time. So that is my work, and that is why, in a way, you know, what I always say is your wound is your gift. So when we start to look at what our gift is in that circle, what our wound is in that circle, again, we start to then narrow down a little bit more of a kind of niche energy that is our blueprint. I talked a little bit, maybe, did I talk about blueprint last time, the acorn theory and the blueprint? Yeah. So we start to look at our blueprint, because when we're working in this field and we're wanting to create businesses in this field, and we're wanting to call in our tribe and those people who are resonant with our energy, we need to know who we are so that we can call in people who are maybe just a couple of steps behind where we are, and then we're just showing them the stepping stones to get there. Does that make sense? So then in the circle, you can tune into your energy, what's going on for me right now, because this is going to then translate into what's going on usually for the most people that are in resonance with you, because they're resonant with your energy. This is a different way of working to how we've ever worked before. The less work that you have to do when people come into that circle, the easier it is on your energy. We're going to look at victim archetype in a bit. Everyone, no matter how uncomfortable it is a mirror to you. Everybody is a mirror. So if you're getting triggered by somebody, there is something in you that is unhealed that needs some work, because otherwise you're going to pull more of that in. So everybody, if we can start looking at everybody outside of ourselves as a mirror of who we are, a circle is a mirror. A circle is an absolute mirror. You will know, you know, you can just see this morning, everybody has resonated because we're all one. We're all connected already. So if we get a wild card in, which we do, and that does happen, and, you know, obviously it's happening for me at the moment, and Sue will, I'm sure, agree with this. When you've got that one wild card in that circle, by God, does it bring the energy down, and it distorts the whole group. So, you know, Vicky, go on.
Can I just add something? It happened to me, actually.
Yeah.
I held not on as at the level, you know, court level, but I held a self-care yoga retreat day. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, and it was in the middle of the summer. And this woman messaged and said, "Oh, I can't wait. Can I book on?" So she booked on, but I am really over friendly and I'm really over welcoming, and I've been told this before, and I'm really, really open. And she came to this retreat day, really connected with her, but I just knew there was something there. Trusted, you know, my intuition, and I knew there was something there. And she started coming to my regular Saturday classes. But when she came to the Saturday classes, she used to sort of be really, really kind to me and bring me stuff. And I'm not quite I don't receive stuff very well because I always think, why?
Yeah.
Anyway, her kindness was strategic. Believe me, it was strategic. She used to pick on kind of my vulnerabilities around food and stuff, and she'd ask me questions and things like this. But without going into all that, she said, "Oh, on your next day," she was a facial skincare therapist. So she said, on the next day retreat, she said, I'd like to do some facial massage. But I'm trained in face yoga. So I said, oh, well, we can have a talk about it. So I arranged to meet her anyway. She taught me into it. But then it just turned into a total nightmare. In the end, I, without going into it again, to bore you all, I had to say to her, listen, I don't think it's going to work. And then she played the victim and just blamed me and said, oh, I feel really hurt. And I just thought, well, and I really had to deal with that. And I think I'm still dealing with that now, actually. But hearing your story, that it's not just me, because I think because I just remember, you know, anybody who walks into my class, I'll say, oh, hello, Andrea. And I'll remember that person. I will greet them again. And I think it's happened to me on quite a few occasions. But this particular one, it was quite nasty.
Yeah.
She's quite a nasty person.
Interesting. That's really interesting because that's just happened to me on retreat as well.
Really?
Just this time in retreat, I've had a massive, so many different things happened in this particular retreat. I've just had very similar. So there are some people who want to say will ride on the back of your work. So this is a big thing in this field, which is very interesting. But the other thing is you want to look at this, because this is something I'm working with at the moment as well, is the avoidance of conflict to be able to be true to yourself. So my whole thing, similar sort of thing, I got talked into running a retreat that I didn't need to run with someone else because I completely had filled it out and it was completely my own thing. But I got talked into doing it with someone else. I'd never worked with other people really because I've been burnt on a few occasions with it. So I tend to just stay in my lane and do the thing that I do, and got talked into this thing. And then this person actually just tried to sell her business the whole week through the retreat, which was a nightmare.
What she was doing, can I advertise? Yeah.
And I don't even sell my own work through my retreats. You know, I just don't do it. So it was really interesting. But the thing with circles is it can call people like that in, and it can. And I think that, and they're very clever. They are very, very clever. But what you have to do really is get down into your basement and find the places where you give yourself away without being sacred and sovereign in yourself, and know the sacred note and be able to say it before. And this is what I'm learning at the moment. So yeah, it's really interesting that you've shared that, because it's literally it has just happened.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I should learn just to say no, that's a lovely idea, but no thank you.
Yeah,
instead of saying you know, maybe.
Yeah, because I think also I am fully supportive of collaboration, fully supportive of that. However, I know my own energy, and I don't work that well doing that because I work so intuitively around the space. If I've got somebody else that I've got to consider, apart from else, it's a pain in the ass for them, because oftentimes they're wanting to do their thing, and you know, you're kind of having to consider someone else in that space. So I do find collabs a little bit tricky. And in fact, I don't do them anymore.
I'm a sole trader. Yeah, that's me. I don't even. I get approached by studios.
Yeah. I'm a lone wolf, and that's how I work, and that's how I work the best. That's how I give the best of myself to work. So it doesn't, you know, it does. Some people work. I think Annie. I don't know if Annie does some work with Julie, and I know you two collab really well. And some people work really well in that way. but particularly I don't. And the thing is, that's okay, because I tell you, I beat myself up saying, oh, that's your ego, it's just you know, your ego's too big, you can't work with another person. And actually, when that lady approached me, I was just going through that little journey, and I thought, right then, well, I'll try it then. Well, okay, let the ego down, and I'll let this person into the space. And she absolutely hammered me, and I lost thousands of pounds through that as well. You know, I really lost a lot of money through it. So initiation after initiation, all for the bigger cause, of course. But you know, and you know, I'm the first person that will help anybody. I will help anybody to get up, but I have become more aware of not carrying people on my back. Yeah, that is the victim archetype often. That is the, I'm going to escalate up on the back of that person because she's done 25 years of work and put in the graft and all the rest of it. And I'm just going to come into this work and just jump on her back and let's just ride with it. And that's exactly what's, you know, it's happened a few times. It's not just the one time. And this is my work. This is my work as well. Because I think people who are drawn to space holding and doing this work are beautiful people. They always are. They're kind and they're generous. And this is why we're called to the work. It's why we do the work we do. But equally, you know, we also have usually the wound of I'm not enough. And we feed that also through the work. And we allow it to show us who we are. And if we think we're not enough, by God, will this work show you you're not enough? It will show you by burning you out, by you overgiving, overdoing, you know, letting people blur your lines of whatever boundaries, if you've got any. So honestly, just from my own experience, especially when you're first starting out, stay in your own lane until you know who you are as a space holder and a, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. So again, knowing our, you know, knowing who we are, knowing what our, what our wound is. So, you know, if we look at our lives from being little, like this is called a suspect of self. So if we were to look down in our basement at, you know, what is a constant theme that runs? You know, what is that thing? What is that thing that comes up all the time? Whether it is, usually often it's I'm not enough. I don't value myself. I give everything away. You know, I don't have boundaries around my time and my energy. I don't prioritize myself. I don't prioritize my self-care. It isn't your fault. It isn't your fault. It's something that's running deep down in the basement that you have no conscious awareness of, you know. You've become who you are to survive. We're in survival mode. The basement is survival mode. It is the hidden, it's the dark, it's the cave, it's, you know, it's the depth of who we are. So that basement just needs a little bit of light shining, a bit of a sweep out, a bit of a spring clean, again with love, to bring up from the basement up to the heart that which is to be seen and to be loved and to be integrated in. You know, now, you know, I'm starting to kind of in a lot of ways, rather than beat myself up because I overgive, because I don't value the work that I do, this experience that I'm having at the moment is teaching me so much that I am a guardian of a gateway of the sacred feminine, and I need to be freaking on, and I need to know who's right for it and who isn't, because I'm a guardian of that. So that's how I feel. That's how it's made me feel now, really quite protective of it, really, of who this work passes to, and who, you know, the women that are holding space under the sacred feminine have done their work, so they can hold it authentically and truthfully and be really real about who they are. and know themselves, so we can use that to again get to know ourselves better, rather than actually leapfrogging over all of the shadow stuff and going, oh, I'm over here and now I'm over here and now I can hold space for all these women, but I've leapfrogged over all of my basement and I'm just going to go, oh, and I'm going to do it from here, because actually from here I don't have to go down and in and actually look at who I am. And you can do that for sure, and I have done that for sure, but I'll tell you, it'll make you work a whole lot harder, because you're going to bring in all of them people that are in victim archetype, that are in all of that, you know. So the more that you integrate and again look at, shine a light on who we are, then the less we're going to bring in those people, and the more we create this beautiful congruent community of people that are all on the same level, you know, that, and then it makes it enjoyable and fun and lovely. You know, it's very rare. I mean, I've had a few. It's very rare. I wouldn't say it's happened a lot. It has happened though. And it's just happened recently, you know. So, but interestingly, if I look at what's happening at the moment, what's reflected back at me is my belief that I am wrong. That's my basement thing. I'm wrong. My work is wrong. Who do I think I am creating this work? And you know, this is my root, can be a root pattern for me. This person is reflecting that back at me, saying you are wrong and I'm taking you to court and your work is not worth that and I want my money back. And if you see you can see a mirror. It's brought up a truth that I can now see that I couldn't see before. So even if I have to pay her money back, it's worth every freaking penny, because it's shown me something I didn't know was running, you know, a thing that I didn't realize was running. So I hope that makes sense for everybody. And you know, like for me, you know, I feel responsible in a way that you know, and it's up to you whether you do your work or not. It's entirely up to you whether you do your work or not, but it will make your life a lot easier if you do. And no, it's not easy and it's uncomfortable to look at the shadows, but it makes the work a lot easier when you do, because you don't get so many people getting through the net that are like needy and victim and a bit sticky, you know, that sticky sort of energy. So again, when we come back to this, has anyone got any questions on any of that, or anything to share, or any of that might be useful?
I do have something that's actually brought it up in my head. A year or two ago, I did a training thing, and it wasn't space holding. There was something, I can't even remember what the hell it was. And I think there's two ladies collaborating. One lady was fantastic. She did a lot of goddess, the Hindu goddesses, and it was yoga and space holding and things like that. But the other lady, you know, that way you take an instant dislike to somebody.
Yeah.
And she was space holding, sharing and all the rest of it, but very, very, very anti-patriarchy.
Yeah.
And it kept coming out, and it was basically hated men. And she triggered something, because she was all about the divine feminine, and I'm like, yeah, I appreciate that, but you've also got to balance. You know, we've got to balance ourselves. So it was very, very like that side, and I don't know, she triggered something in me, and she started. She was late starting the 2-hour thing, and then her internet kept going out, and everything annoyed me. And then eventually I thought, not a delete, I just stopped and I came out of it. And the other lady messaged me and she said, is everything okay, because you never turned up to the next training? So I paid my money and I actually didn't finish it. I never got my certificate, I never get anything. And I'm like, do I tell her, or do I just go put it down to learning for me, and I just let it go? And I maybe should have said, no, I didn't get the training that I was advertised, But I learned a lesson from that, and I thought, you can't always be here. You've got to be
absolutely
balanced, because you could obviously be one side or the other and very much in the middle. So it's actually quite interesting when you know very intuitively, you have somebody, you're talking about that lady, right away you're like, wait a minute, I had just a wee quickly, not space holding, but you know, that way you connect with somebody, and we did a mutual swap. And she did a tarot reading for me, and I did a crystal healing session for her. And I sent her all the information about the different chakras that were out of balance and the different things. And then a week later, I got a message from her. Her whole life had imploded, and she blamed me because I did this crystal healing, and I've obviously done something to her body. And I'm like, no. And the abuse, she kept sending me abusive messages. And eventually I had to delete her and block her. And I thought to myself, and that knocked my confidence. So for months and months and months, I wouldn't do anything. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute here, this is not about me. This is about her. So you're right, you're going to get somebody coming into your classes, and you're going to know right away there's something iffy about that person.
Absolutely.
But you need to be strong and hold space and keep them at a distance.
I'm going to do a bit about that this afternoon as well. So we'll look a little bit into those archetypes, those projects, you know, like people that project, and because that is part of it. That is definitely part of it. But the more work you do on yourself, the less that happens. That is an absolute fact. The other thing, actually, just talking about collaboration, seeing as it's sort of on. So if we're thinking about this energetically, if you are, say if I was collaborating with somebody who hates men, or, you know, you've got that vibe going on, which is very, very prevalent in the feminine arena, I'll tell you, is very prevalent, then what's going to happen when you are both advertising the same event is you aren't really, you're happy with everyone. You don't care about men, women, you know, there is a distortion that's happened in the past. It's in the past, it's gone, and now we need to collaborate. We need to bring that. What's going to happen is you've got two people calling in two different energies into the circle. So you've got the one who's calling in all the don't care, you know, I'm really happy with that, all of that stuff. And then you've got someone who hates men. Now, what's going to happen when you get in that circle and you've got these two energies coming together that are opposing each other? It's not good. It's never going to be good. It's never going to be good. You know, it's similar like when the mask and the not mask thing came in COVID, isn't it? You know, I just stopped doing it because I did not want to end up with I had a yoga training at the time running with 16 people on it. I ended up cancelling the whole thing because half of them were mask pro and half of them weren't. And I was no way was I going to bring that together for 1 year with people opposing each other. It just, you know, you're always going to get a bit of it, but there are, you know, choosing those battles. So when you collaborate with someone else, you've got to be really resonant with their energies, know their values, know who they are. You know, again, because I literally got talked into this thing, like Vicky was saying, with this woman. I didn't even know she was. I'd never bloody met her in person. I'd only met her online. I'd never spoke to her on phone. Didn't even know she was. But that is you know, again, what it showed me was how, rather than saying actually, nope, I'm not interested, and having the possibility that might cause a bit of friction, I did the whole, oh yeah, okay, yeah, come and take 50% of my earnings, come and take 50% of the work that I've built up, and, you know, la la la. And so yeah, it's very, very interesting. But again, it comes down to the root. It is the root that is the problem. It's the
sorry, Andrea, I was more upset with myself because I thought, how could I have let that happen?
Exactly.
Because she took the piss, and I actually thought, how could I let that happen? And, you know, without even, but I knew, and I thought, you knew, Vicky. And I was not annoyed with myself, I think.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what I think it is. A lot of it is ungroundedness. Been too busy to be able to actually sit down and go, actually, this feels really wrong. And I am really impulsive person. I'm very impulsive. So I will say yes before I've even thought about it. So again, getting that phrase in, oh, can you just give me a bit of time to think about that? So if you do get approached, always do that from now on. Oh, I'll just gonna have a think about that and just see how that feels. Because you'll know if you do that.
Pause before answering. Pause
before answering.
Thank you.
It's a grounding thing. Again, it's a grounding thing. If your nature is Vata, and I get Vata as well, and as you get older, you get more Vata as well. So if you're very Vata and you know that you're busy and you're running around, never say yes. Never say yes straight away. Have a bit of time to sit back and, especially if you're in a busy phase of your life or there's a lot going on, because that's how it hit me, because it was in a busy phase when there was so much going on and I was just yes before I even thought about what that might mean. But again, it comes back to grounding. Slow down. It is a massive game changer, honestly, and it saves you a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of emotional upset, a lot of it's going to save you all that stuff, just by slowing down and being grounded, honestly, especially in this sort of work, especially. So when, again, we come back to this idea that when we're grounded and coming back to that as well, if you've got someone in your circle that has got in under the radar and you feel offline with, you are going to feel offline in circle, which takes the whole circle offline. Everything goes offline. So again, been really aware of that, just that intuitive filter. I can tell now from an email if that person is right before I've even spoken to them. I always speak to people now before coming in. It has to be, or like some of you lot, I already know you, but if it's somebody I don't know, I have to speak to them on the phone because I have to listen to them and feel the energy of them before I say, right, that's okay, you can, I can work with you for a year. Because once people have committed to longer stuff, especially if you're doing stuff over a long time, you've got a long time with them, and I do trust the work to a degree, but also there is, sometimes. So the other thing with grounding, I think, and the importance of that as well, is so that you can be authentic, because you have to feel safe. Often, especially if we are people who give and we're in that role and we maybe have been taught to give everything away and give ourselves away and all of that stuff, if we forget about our own safety. So really, we need to feel safe with the circle. We need to feel safe in the energy of that circle. So really, if we start to be the filter rather than going straight into, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, because again, this is a lot of the times feeding this I value myself through the number of people that are sitting in circle with me. I value myself because people are saying yes to this work. I value and again, we're sourcing our value from an outside source. So when we start to actually value who we are from our basement, we can then, does this feel safe? Does this person's energy feel right for me to sit in circle with? Because if it doesn't, then it will distort the circle. It will distort the circle. So this is, like I say, it's quite a new thing, but I believe it's really important in circle holding. So when we are, if we've got stuff going on in our lives, and to a degree, there's, I would always say, like, once you get in the circle, you're kind of there, and you're not, you're not really. But if you've got a lot of stuff going on outside, if you're unwell, you know, like especially if you're unwell, it's okay to postpone things. This is something that I've learned, and I do. If I'm not okay and I'm not in the right place, I'm not afraid now to postpone stuff like I used to be. So again, you know, having that, apart from obviously a retreat in Ibiza, which was not a thing that could be postponed or cancelled or anything like that. Sometimes the bigger work, you know, is a bit more difficult to postpone. But for a circle or a class or, you know, a reading or whatever that is, it's okay sometimes just to move it on a week if we're not quite 100% in our energy and we feel like, yeah, you know, that I just don't quite feel right now. Sometimes as well, when that happens, it's like, and I find this a lot with retreats often, actually. There's always like a little movement right at the end, just before you go in. Because when you start to think about it a bit wider than it being people, it's actually energy. It's energy alchemy that needs a certain chemistry of women in that circle to alchemize. There's often somebody comes right under the line last minute. Can I come in tonight? I didn't book, but can I come? Or, oh, I can't make it now. Someone's dropped out. Someone drops in. And honestly, I can say literally even up to Ibiza last week, the week before, someone dropped out, someone else came in for the alchemy of me, probably more than our else, but the alchemy also of the group. So again, we can easily go into, oh, it's all about me, they don't like me, it's, you know, we can do that, when actually if we can again think a bit wider than that, and you are a channel of energy for the group, for however that group's meant to be in that moment, in that day, in that present circle. That there may be a shift, someone might drop out, someone might come in. There's always that alchemy can happen right at the end. But again, if we start to think of it a bit more around, rather than it being just a monetary exchange as well, because that can be quite a thing, you know, if people drop out, like, oh shit, that's it, 35 quid down or whatever. But if we can think about it a bit wider, that this is an alchemy, I know that the right people will be in that circle for their alchemy and for mine. So we start to kind of, it's like as if, what I find anyway, what happens with that is that then my energy expands a bit, and I can think, yeah, now I'm a bit more open to actually receive the people that are meant to be in that circle, that are meant to be in that training, that are meant to be in that class, that are meant to be, you know. So we kind of, we start to work from a really different way as, you know, alchemists, which I think we are when we're holding space in circle. We are we are alchemists. That's what we do. So again, having a feel into how does it feel to feel ground. I'm going to put you in groups in a minute, but I just want you to just have this conversation. So how does grounding feel in my body? And do I know when I'm grounded? How do I know when I'm grounded? And then also, what situations or energies are likely to unground me when I'm holding space? So, you know, what are your you know, your kind of triggers? Like, I know mine is criticism. If someone criticizes me, it's a trigger for me. I don't like it. I don't like being criticized. It is a root thing because I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong all the time. So I know that criticism is one of my little triggers, that I know if someone says to me in circle, or you did that and that's not okay or whatever, I will go into shit, it's me, I'm wrong. Right. So I know that is a trigger for me. So again, just knowing that is likely to throw my energy off a bit, like it's going to make me go, oh, that's the thing, you know, like, so again, knowing yourself, it's quite big. Also, just have a little chat about so in that moment, if I get thrown off, what brings me back to center? Like for me, often it's this. So like hand on heart, hand on belly, and 3 breaths. will usually let me lean back a bit and just settle down again. It'll settle my energy down and go, oh, interesting. I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that. That's interesting. That's come up. And maybe I might journal on it later on. So again, when we're holding space, embodying, how do we embody qualities of the earth? So what are the qualities of the earth? We've got, and really, if you hold every single space with the qualities of earth, you will be in perfect space, because the qualities of the earth, stability, patience, nourishment, this lovely, you know, like holding energy of the mother. If we can hold every space with those qualities guiding us, then everybody that comes into your space will feel safe and held. So how do we then embody that every day? How do we embody those qualities to ourselves? How do we hold ourselves? How do we mother ourselves? How do we have patience and stability? You know, how do we do that for ourselves? And then from there, that is then easy to then transmit that to other people. People feel your energy before you even open your mouth. So we cultivate this energy of groundedness. What does it mean to us to be grounded? And the more grounded we are, and again, if we think about the earth element is slow, it's steady. You know, if you listen to the resonance of earth, it's very low frequency, it's very low vibration. It's steady and it's calming. You know, our words, you know, slow down, and this creates calm in the room. It creates that cohesion of energy, which creates this circle. Now, the other thing with that, which I'll go into a little bit after lunch, but is that a lot of women that come into space, especially if they've not done it before, don't feel safe. Although women don't feel safe to women often, that is an often time that happens. So the more patient, stable, nourishing, caring, loving that you can be, friendly. I mean, actually, Vicky, there's nothing wrong with being super friendly with people. I think it's a beautiful quality to have. That is a typical Vata quality. It's beautiful. We should know the names of everyone we're sitting in circle with, who we teach, and we should know them, you know, and that's not wrong. That is definitely a gift. It's not wrong. You know, and, you know, my ex-partner used to say, you're so trusting of everyone. You're just too trusting of everyone. But I love to see the good in everybody. I love to see that. And sometimes, yes, I get burnt, but it's just, it is. And it is sad when that happens. But I would rather be open, friendly, warm, kind, loving, generous than be closed, cold, ice queen, you know, and closed off from people. There is a, you know, a balance, a place in between where, yes, we can feel boundaried because, you know, and this is where the golden egg comes in, you know, this permeable layer around us all the time that allows our energy out, and it allows some energy, you know, the energy that feels good, but it also has a bouncy quality that will bounce off the stuff that isn't so good. But it allows us that space to feel protected and to feel held. All right, so I'm just going to pop you into some groups. Just let me see some breakout rooms. Let me see if I can find it. God, this has all changed so much. Oh, here we are, breakout room. All right, so I'm going to put you into a breakout rooms with 2 people in each room, and I just want you to have a little chat about well, anything that's come up really, but also your basement. So talk a little bit about your basement, what's present in your basement, what are your, you know, your gift, your gift is your wound. So again, knowing who you are. So what is it that, you know, what are your, you know, what are your systems of survival, you know, again, from the basement is about survival. So what are those things that you might have, you know, created that, you know, that help and hinder. There's going to be 2 levels of that. All right, so I'm going to put you in a rooms, and then let me see. Options. Oh God, that's giving you 30 minutes. I don't want that long. How do I take that down? Right, I'm just going to give you 15 minutes to just have a little chat about that and how that's resonated with you. So you'll get a little invitation, I think, to go into a room. Nice.
I think we could have talked a lot longer, couldn't we?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I could have given you half an hour. You'll get another chance this afternoon to have a chat as well. So it's nice to do that, isn't it? Because you get a bit more like together. Yeah.
It also makes you realise that you're on the same wavelength as somebody else. You know,
Yeah,
they've got the same ideas as you, and they do the same things as you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you also
Yeah, and again,
don't feel alone.
That's it. That is absolutely it. How did that go, everybody? Anybody got anything to share from that, and any realizations or anything?
We are connected and we don't realise it.
Connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anybody had similar core basement stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Similar, yeah. Did everybody have similar stuff or not? No.
I think Zoom always manages to put the right people together, doesn't it? Or
Didn't it just?
Did you?
Honestly, I never choose them groups.
No.
I just just randomly pick, and don't they just? It's crazy, isn't it?
It's amazing how Spirit manages to control Zoom as well.
Always. Yeah. So did you all get something from that? I think it's quite nice to do the Zoom rooms because you get to kind of like meet people a bit more one-to-one, and we'll do a bit more of that as well later on this afternoon. But also, like, you can see, because I know a lot of people are quite resistant to being online nowadays, but you can also see how well it works, and it does work online, and circles do work online. And you know, I think they can be really beautiful spaces for people and still be quite sacred, you know, even though we're online. Okay, so I'm going to just take you through has anyone got anything they want to share actually before we do that? And if you've got any questions or anything, you know, just ask, you know, just unmute yourselves and ask if anything comes up. But I'm just going to take you through this before we go for lunch. A little bit about the golden egg, the tantric golden egg, which I can share this with you as well. And there's a few contemplations you might want to feel into as well, and I'll take you through the meditation. And then it's something that I'm using each day because it's really helping me, especially as you know, a person who just gives their energy away, that I've just identified. So it's really helpful. So in Tantra now, for many of us, you know, may not have really done anything around Tantra, and this has just been part of my own journey. My initial experience of Tantra is it's all about sex. And part of it is about that. But really, Tantra is also about Shakti, which is the feminine energy that is our, you know, our power as women. So it also has these many different ways of looking at things, and I'm absolutely loving studying under this, and it's been so beautiful. So energy protection from the tantric kind of viewpoint, this eagle-eye perspective, is not about building walls. So we don't want to create a load of ice queens. We want to create these women who are sovereign to themselves. That doesn't mean that we are also closed to everybody else. So to be sovereign within ourselves means, again, we know ourselves, we are situated in who we are. There is a queen archetype really that kind of runs with this sovereign energy, but she's also not so high on a pedestal that no one can get near. So this is the idea of being sovereign. I know who I am. I know what my needs are before I start giving myself away to others. So this is really for me what sovereignty is. So that allows us to, rather than shielding ourselves from life, it allows us to contain our life force energy so that it circulates within our own field, nourishes us, and radiates outward from fullness rather than depletion. And that feels really good to me, to know that I have control in some ways of my energy and what I choose. And a lot of this also comes from the words that we speak. So there is a saying that we will never create abundance from using poverty words. And the same thing with energy, with vibrancy, with radiance. If we're getting up every day and going, I'm tired, I'm not good enough, I'm not very good at this, then that is basically what reality we're creating for ourselves. So good to honor fatigue, absolutely nothing wrong with honoring fatigue, but also be aware of the patterns that are playing, the words that we're speaking, the language that we're using for ourselves as well. So the golden egg, we have this lovely idea of this this egg that it's said that we're born with, that comes in with us, a bit like our red threads really that connect us to all those that we're destined to meet. We have this lovely golden egg that we're born from, the cosmic egg of the womb, really, this cosmic womb. So if we can imagine our energy field as a radiant living membrane, I like this word membrane. It feels really nice to imagine having this soft membrane, a golden membrane all around us that allows us to be responsive. And this membrane is porous, so it allows an exchange of energy to happen, but it also kind of protects us from energy that is that is not good for us. That's gonna deplete us. What I've also found with this is that, because if we start to focus on grounding and holding this lovely membrane around us every day, when, again, we're definitely in the season for it at the moment, when energy feels a bit scattered, if we're feeling overextended, emotional, entangled in other people's shit, which we all can do, then what tends to happen is our energy field becomes leaky, and we're kind of got these leaky containers. So when we re-establish this egg every day, we start to pull it into our consciousness. This is what we're going to do. It's already there, actually. We've just forgotten. If we remember the smarana, the remembering, we're remembering that we've always got it, we've always had it, it's never left us. But we start to bring it online more consciously. Then what happens is, eventually, it's a bit like a mantra. If you work with mantras, you chant the mantra, chant it over and over again. Eventually you don't have to chant it because it starts to chant you. And that is the same with this. So every day, every night, we put the egg in place, we put this lovely membrane around us, and till eventually it becomes us. It is part of our reality. We know that we're always protected. And honestly, for confidence, it's an absolute game changer. It's so strange how it works, because it allows us to drop into a space more into this place of Svastha, to be who I am, and I am protected by this golden energy, like a shimmer cloak that is all around me, that is holding me at all times. And it's so lovely to have that. So we can use it for, well, daily life. We will be using it for daily life. We can use it obviously in our circles, space holding, when we're going into environments, supermarkets, Tesco's, all of them environments where there's a lot of energy about. If we establish that egg every day, every morning, every night, bookend the day with it, then we know we're protected at all times, you know, just bookending. I've started doing it when I go to sleep. Before I go to sleep, I put my hand on, one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, surround myself with this golden light, allow that light to begin to really energize my cells as I sleep. And it's absolutely lovely. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to go through it now. And also, but also, and you might have an awareness of this, what I'd like you to contemplate over lunch is juicers and drainers. So what areas in my life, you know, that really juice me up? If we come back to this essence of rasa, the essence of, you know, the juiciness of life, that lovely nourishing quality. So what juices me? So what are the juices in my life? People that I'm around, the practices that I have, the rituals that I do, the things that I love doing, the people I love being around, massages, whatever that is for you. So what juices me? And also what drains me. So again, the people, situations, the stuff that I do, and some things we have to do, and you know, and that's how it is. However, especially when we're doing things for other people, how can that become more of a devotional practice? So we start to take the kind of negative vibe, because it is taxing on our energy, and it is taxing on our time when we've got to look after others. But how can we shift that to be more devotional? So this becomes a devotional practice. It's like hoovering. I hate domestic goddess practices, but if I can start to shift it, that this house is my temple and I'm cleaning out my temple space in devotion to the goddess, then that makes it different. It makes it appear less depleting on the energy field. So looking at juicers and drainers, and are they in, you know, again, have we got that balance right? Are we open to receiving? This is one of the biggest things for women, is allowing ourselves to receive support when we need it, to receive love, to receive a gift, you know, and feel into, how do I feel when somebody gives me something? How do I receive? You know, so let's have a little look at that, because if we're blocked from receiving, my mum was blocked from receiving. She was not a receiver at all. Everything, she was stoic, she could do it, she didn't need any help, she didn't want any help. But what that does is it also blocks the flow of everything, because everything's energy, money, everything is, you know, again, we're blocking a flow of all the good things in life, all the juiciness of life. We're blocking the flow. So just having a little feel into that, and how, you know, again, how we open to receive. Now, if we don't feel safe, we won't feel open either. So it kind of all, it does come down to grounding, really. So let's go into the practice. So if you want to get comfy, and we'll just start by settling down and in. And I have shared this in the group, so you've got it as a recording as well. So you can add it to your practices. Again, be curious. I think I said about that last time. Be curious, because some things you might love and some things you might think, oh no, that's crap, and I already do that, and this works for me. You know, so if you're doing Reiki, you'll probably have big pink bubbles. You may have you know, angel protection or whatever it is for you, but just know what your protection is and how you use it. But this is just one from the Tantric system that is really working really well for me. So just let yourself land in, and we'll just close our eyes. Again, this is a lovely practice in pratyahara, so taking our gaze inward. And again, you might want to just take a breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And, you know, we're in a kind of alchemy circle. So energy is going to be moving, and there's going to be things that have been activated within you, awarenesses that are coming for you. So we allow it all to be present. And as you feel into your breath, again, just letting your breath move into a nice, slow, steady rhythm. Again, we're just feeling the earth beneath us. And just imagining maybe that you are a tree or a plant. And you just begin to let your roots gently spread down into the earth. And then with each breath out, just allowing yourself to be pulled down and in. So just dropping down into the base of you. And maybe also, as you feel into these roots, anything that's been brought up today already, in any day, any time, any space, we always have the capacity to let them go. And when we're grounded, we can let go through the roots, so that all of that old experience, old energy can be composted back into the earth. So as you breathe, again, just following that out breath, just feeling anything that you've been carrying, any stories, any tension, any worries, any judgments of yourself, any criticism, anything like that. Just let it all dissolve down through the roots and back into the earth. So we begin to just empty out our container. Just breathing out and breathing down. Just letting go, just let the pelvic floor release, just let the base of your body relax fully. But with each in-breath, you're just bringing in some fresh energy. And with each out-breath, you just let go of any old stuff, old stories that we used to be, the girls that we used to be, the ones that maybe learnt not to value ourselves, not to protect our energy, to give ourselves away. Just let those stories release, leave. And as we breathe in, we bring in this more sovereign energy that might look like gold. And we bring that sovereign energy down and in as well. So it starts to push out the old stuff, the old stagnant energy. And as we bring our awareness to the crown of our head, again, just over the crown of our head, imagine a soft golden light descending from above. A warm, nourishing glow of cosmic energy. And just feel it touch the top of your head, flow down through your spine, bathing every cell of your body in this golden radiance. Then begin to bring in an image of an egg as a living, sacred boundary. Begin to see this golden light expanding beyond your body and forming this egg-shaped field of light all around. From the crown of your head, beneath your feet, and all around the sides, this light begins to shimmer and glow. Imagine it like a golden cocoon, softly pulsing with life. a sacred container for your energy. And this beautiful golden egg becomes your temple, your sanctuary, your radiant field. And with each breath, draw more golden light into the egg and fill it with warm vitality. With each out breath, releasing anything that is not serving you, that is not welcome here anymore, that's old energies, old stories, old connections that feel heavy. And keep letting them sink down through your roots and back into the earth. And seeing the golden egg as you breathe in, filling with like a nectar, like a honey gold nectar within. Feel as if it coats your nervous system with calm, your heart with love, and your belly with deep feminine wisdom. As this golden egg grows brighter, feel its outer edge becoming strong and clear. It's firm enough to protect, get soft and permeable to love, to be open to divine guidance. So as we hold this visualization, we can offer some words to ourselves, some sacred vows. This is my sacred space. My energy is my own. I'm protected. I'm held. I'm a vessel of golden light. Again, just feeling into that, into the words, into the invocation. This is my sacred space. My energy is my own. I'm protected. I'm held. I'm a vessel of golden light. I'm just feeling into this protective space, into this protective bubble of light, this gorgeous, gorgeous egg that is all around us re-established. As we begin to gently deepen our breath, and just allowing ourselves to gently move back into the space. Again, just notice if there is any difference, any change in how you feel. You might feel more grounded, you may feel more spacious, more open. You might feel like a kind of shimmer cloak is all around you. And just breathing into you. Just breathing all that nourishment in. And very gently bring our eyes awake, just gently blinking them awake. And then we'll come slowly back into our circle. Just have a little bit of movement if you need to, just release your body. We're going to do a bit of movement after lunch actually as well. So I know I've been sitting, I've been online, it's a bit funky on the energy. So we're going to move after dinner. Is everybody okay? How does that feel? It's quite nice. Yeah, so you're protected in your muggledom to go for lunch. So yeah, we'll come back say at 3 if that's okay. I'm not sure if Anne-Marie might be an hour ahead or behind, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, about an hour from now. And I'll share that meditation script as well if you want to use it, and a bit about it as well. And then you can use it in your own, in your own practices, in your own circles as well. And yeah, is everybody okay? Anybody got anything to share or any questions or anything before we break for lunch? So if we can, as we go into lunch, move into lunch with the energy of earth, flow, steady, nourishing, kind, gentle. So if we can all embody those qualities as we eat, as we receive our food, that'll be ultra nourishing for our systems, for our energy. Yeah, I'll see you all in a little bit. So yeah, see you at 3 for some planning session and a bit of movement.
Thank you, Andrea.
So welcome. See you soon.
Thank you. See you
Same
soon.
link again, by the way, as well. See you soon. Bye.